Hey guys, it's Ani. Happy Friday. This is going to be such a good video today, you guys. I decided to talk about things like I've noticed recently, and I feel like you guys will resonate with this video so much because I'm sure you guys have noticed things like this too in your reality. Also, I will be talking about the importance of a mental diet and what it is and why we do it, and I'll get more specific on that. Not just like, oh, you gotta, change your thoughts just to like see a different reality. Okay. So we'll get more specific on that. But just remember, this video and any of my videos is about everything. Like if this formula or what I talk about is always gonna apply to your specific person, love, relationships, money, abundance, the knowledge applies to all. So I'll be sharing a few things I've noticed in my current reality. Also, important factors. All right, you guys. So um, stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for all the amazing feedback on my last video and all the other videos. Like, you guys are amazing. I have we have the best viewers, I swear, on this channel. You guys are so beautiful and kind and just resonating with my videos. So I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you, all of you, for watching and liking and commenting. Okay, so I want to talk about something very important, you guys, and that is why we have a mental diet. That is why we observe thoughts, why we maybe sometimes need to disrupt a thought pattern. You guys will come across this in your life, understanding law of assumption now, or just even law of attraction, law of assumption. You will understand why it is important sometimes to disrupt a thought process. What do I mean by disrupting a thought process? So, for example, when I was going through it with my specific person, or in any situation, you want to manifest something, right? You'll notice your mind wandering off to an old thought pattern that doesn't serve you. You'll notice your mind wandering to a thought pattern that's maybe very hurtful, or making you feel like you can't trust, or making you feel like, how did I get here? Almost like victim mentality, you know? And I used to give in to those thoughts a lot. I used to really like almost make myself cry, because it was just so deep. It just felt so real, especially when reality matched all of it and nothing was different out there. So it's like it just felt so logical to go with that thought process. And what happens is, when you go through with those thought processes and you continue on with that story, you are reactivating that reality for it to continuously push out into your 3D world. For example, if you guys resonate with this, comment down below. Like, for example, I have many people, like I know many people in my family even, that they're just so kind of like, woe is me, like nothing's working out in my life. It's a constant drama after drama after drama, and I just can't catch a break. Like, if you guys have anyone like this, comment down below. You'll realize why, like, for example, that person continuously is living through the same thing over and over again. Maybe it's a different story, maybe it's a different drama, maybe it's a different event, but they're constantly finding themselves in that state. I started realizing this when I would do reverse engineering. What is reverse engineering? Reverse engineering is like looking around in your life, in your reality, and kind of matching up the thoughts with the state that you're constantly embodying, or even on another person. Like, even if it's a family member, I challenge you to do this, you guys. Like, um, try to see if the person that shows up, like the way they show up, watch what they talk about, watch what they're constantly complaining about, and if they're constantly experiencing it. That's reverse engineering. Like, you're literally linking the two together, and you're seeing like, oh, this is why that person keeps finding themselves in situations like this. And I used to do that a lot. And when I used to do that, I used to be like, all right, well, this is complete proof that every state you embody is what you're going to get out there. And you can see it clearly in other people too. Like, the word like negative Nancy, right? You always see like people like that experiencing kind of like the same thing over and over again, or just it seems different, but it's like a negative experience over and over again, right? So I have people like that in my family, and I realize like what's going on is they never get a chance to disrupt the thought process unless they know about this, unless they know about why they should disrupt the thought process, unless someone explains to them, unless you go do your research, you're never really going to know, like, oh, what I keep reacting to out there, I keep reactivating in here, I keep identifying as that person, and I keep getting it back out there again. It's like a circle of life. Like, feel, experience, embody, receive, react, come back to the same embodiment again, worry on it, doubt it, fear it, feel like emotional, which is totally fine. But like, when do you disrupt the thought process? When do you disrupt the thought process? When you do disrupt the thought process and you stick with this disrupting the thought process every time you want to come back into the same old thought process over again, if you stick to disrupting the thought process, working in your favor, going to a thought or going to an embodiment or going to a state that indicates, oh, this one thing here is working in your favor, the more you stay in that, the more the out there will match the disrupted thought process in here, right? So what happens to a lot of us though is like when we do try to disrupt the thought process, we go back to what we know. We go back to what we're used to. We go back to the old mental diet, which is not serving us, right? So my question to you is, and you don't have to like answer it right now or in the comments, but like I really want you guys to focus on these questions. Am I aware of what's going on in my mind throughout the day? Am I aware of where my thoughts are and what state I'm embodying throughout the day? What does embodying a state mean? So for example, if you're embodying a state of lack, like let's say it's with your SP, right? If you're embodying a state of lack, you are feeling, thinking from thoughts and emotions of, they're not texting me, they're not calling me, I don't have them, when will I have them, what if I don't have them, what if I need to do this in order to get them because I don't have them now. It's all problem solving. That is embodying a state. Embodying a state of having, let's say, embodying a state of, let's say, having your SP would be, I don't got to make moves out there because I know I'm creating internally. I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm looking forward to the next events that are going to take place in my reality with this person. I'm excited to see how this will play out, right? Embodying a state of having money would be, I trust that my thoughts and the universe is backing me up. I trust that if I could see it in here, if I could feel it in here, I'm gonna have it. And I'll explain more about this. This is actually gonna go with what I was saying, that I've noticed a few things in my reality lately. Um, that is why it's so important to disrupt thoughts, you guys. So if you're having a good time and you're excited and you're focused and you're like, let's say you're having fun, left your last assumption in a great place where you're not doubting it, fearing it. Sometimes you may have like thoughts that come up that kind of like question it, but like you're dominantly leaving your assumptions in a place where it's cool, like, "Oh, I'm excited to see what happens." Then you're not going to need to disrupt the thoughts so much in your internal world. But back to the questions I was saying, things that you need to be aware of is, where are my thoughts at? What am I embodying constantly? Is it lack or is it having? Okay, that's number one. Number two, what are your assumptions in general of like what you do want? Like, let's say you want your SP, right? But there's circumstances in the mix. How are you thinking of it? It's not just about positive thinking. It's not just about like, oh, I'm going to think of this. Oh, it's going to work out for me. What are assumptions you have like about the circumstances too? Like, let's say there's a third party, right? Like, are you thinking, oh, well, as long as they're with the third party, this is going to take a long time? Because then there you just added a timing. Oh, this is going to take a long time because the third party is present. Are you focused on how I'm going to get rid of the third party? Like, let me figure out all the ways to get rid of the third party, and not really about like how I see this relationship unfolding in my favor, or how I view SP. Do I view SP as wanting to cling to the third party more than me? Like, you see, there's so many angles. There's so many angles of looking at one situation. That's why I say be aware of your thoughts, because you may be thinking that you're like, oh, as long as I'm thinking positive all day, every day, as long as I'm affirming everything's happening in my favor, in my favor, in my favor, that's enough. But you want to get a little more specific too. Like, are you coming at this one issue from many, many angles? Because if you are, you want to disrupt that thought and disrupt that thought too. How do you disrupt the thought? You got to first be aware of it first. Like, that's the number one thing. You got to be first aware of what's going on in your head. Then you may ask yourself, where is this coming from? Right? Because if you don't even know where it's coming from, then it feels so much harder. It feels like you're defeated. But these questions, these thought processes come from, most of the time, your reactor mode. Reactor versus creator. You are a creator. Most of your life you've been a reactor, and most of your life you've tried to logically try to figure all of this out. Okay? Most of your life you haven't disrupted thoughts to catch yourself, like in a mental diet, right? And you've gone along with the negative feeling and the negative thought and the negative state, and then it's manifested, and you were like, oh my god, see, I was right. Right? And then you lived through the manifestation of it, which feels like the continuation of the thoughts. It's hard, it feels very hard, right? And then you just feel helpless. If this resonates with anyone, please comment down below. I hope I make sense, you guys. Sometimes like I'm just like going like after each other, like with the thoughts that are running through my head, like the downloads that are coming in, like I'm just sharing them. Most of you really, really resonate, but I hope like you guys are resonating so far. Okay, all right. So one thing I will share, and this goes totally with embodying states, disrupting thought processes, and this goes with the whole reverse engineering thing I was talking about too. Like, practice this. Like, see see this on the people in your reality. Look at the feedback they're getting too. Most of us, we focus so much on just us, and because we have so many emotions involved with whatever we're trying to manifest, we don't see it as like black and white, like this is law. We don't see it as like this is scientific when we're worrying about our own manifestation. But when you look at it, like let's say when you look at a family member and you're like, okay, this person like is the negative Nancy of the family, let's say, which is also an assumption, but you give it a label, right? You give that person a label, and you're like, okay, well, let me see. The way this person shows up in my reality, does it match the things they're going through? Like the events they're going through? Yeah, it is. Like this person's always complaining. This person's always finding themselves in like situations where nothing's working out for them. Like they always need help. They always like, I don't know, they forgot to pay something, and then now they're like in complete like problems, or they're just problem after problem after problem, right? And when you stop just like looking at that, their circumstances, and when you start thinking like, this totally matches though with how they show up. This totally matches with how they talk about themselves, talk about life, talk about like everything they're going through, what state they're embodying. This totally matches, right? If you notice like enough, no one in your reality shows up any different than what you assume them to. Like for example, when I say that like we all have people like that in our families or realities, right? Like I've noticed it so much where that's just my assumption now. And I just know that that person's going to consistently show up that way until I change the assumption I have of them too. You know? I hope this makes sense. But this also applies to SP. This also applies to SP. The feedback you're getting from SP is most likely what you're going to continue to get unless you disrupt the thought process and you remember this starts with me first. This starts with the root. This is the root. um, the best the best analogy I can show you is, for example, like a plant, right? A tree. It has so many branches, so many leaves, so many extensions, right? But the root is the most important. How the root is fed, watered, how much sunlight it gets, whatever. How the root is taken care of determines how the branches and the leaves will unfold, right? So I want you to see those branches and those leaves and all of it as those are all the people in your reality, but they're an extension of the root, which is you. They're an extension of the assumption of the root. So you are the creator. You are the assumption maker. You are the meaning attacher. And all these branches, all these people in your reality are part of the whole thing. They have to be there. They have to be there for your experience. You're experiencing this earth. You know, it's like a game. Like sometimes it feels so hard. Trust me, you guys. Like the hardest times for me was like when I was manifesting SP and like I manifested a third party. And it just felt so real. Like it just felt like this is not me. I'm not the root of this. Like I'm just being played. But then when I sat down and I got real with myself and I was like, okay, if this is all my assumptions, right? Sit down and be real with yourself. Did you have assumptions of this? Did you have assumptions of this person is capable of doing that to you? Or did you have assumptions of you are that person that gets into situations like that. That maybe it's happened before, maybe it's happened twice before, 3 times before, maybe it's happened once before and it hurt you so much that it hasn't gone out of your system. So that's just how people are with you. And then it showed up, but the root was there, you know. And it's a hard, like, reality pill to swallow, that you create, you know, like, you're the root of all of this. It's sometimes it's so much easier to just think like you don't have control of any of this. You just hope, you know. Sometimes it's easier to just send out a prayer and think that, like, you don't gotta fix anything in here, right? Because there's no resistance when it's like that. Sometimes that's easier, you know. That's why, like, it doesn't matter how you go about this. Whichever route is easier for you to disrupt thought processes or have faith or trust more, it's going to work out through that route. Does that make sense? If this makes sense with you, comment down below. Okay, what I wanted to mention is this goes for the people with maybe money limitations, but this also does apply to, like, SP or whatever it is that you're manifesting. This applies to it. So if you guys have watched, like, my OG videos, or, like, if you guys have been following me for quite some time, you know, like, my family, we like to, you know, go play, gamble, and I'm very successful at it. Like, I don't think of it as I'm going to gamble. I think of it as I'm going to pick up my money and bring it back. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the assumption I have. And if you guys haven't seen my jackpot videos, or the haven't checked out the course Manifest Money in Abundance Now, check it out. So many of you have sent in great success stories from it and so much great feedback from it. My not last Friday, but the Friday before, huge success story on money from one of my one-on-one clients. If you guys want to check that out, check that out. But so my dad has such limiting beliefs when it comes to, like, playing, not poker, but just, like, gambling in general. And I noticed this so much this last time I went with him, which I won like a few $1,000s, and he was, like, so surprised. But he's still in the, like, um reactor mindset, you know? Like, because you got to work on it. Like, as much as I teach him, as much as he sees, like, my clients are so successful, he still has that really strong reactor mode. Like, he's not remembering that he's a creator. He's not, like, disrupting those thought processes that he needs to, and changing the assumptions. If you guys resonate with this, comment down below. I feel like I've seen that a lot. Like, when you're first, like, learning about law of assumption, I have clients that are saying this to me. This happened to me years ago when I was first learning about law of assumption. I was really realizing, like, all these changes happening in my reality, but, like, people still didn't, like, see it or believe me, you know, that you control things. So if you still feel like that, comment down below, like, where your surrounding environment, the people in it, still are like, oh, it's like wishful thinking, blah blah blah, whatever, right? So I'm, like, sitting next to him, and I'm like, bet a little higher, you know, like, don't fear that you're gonna lose your bet. Oh, no, 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 like, I will bet low right now, and then when I win, then I'll bet higher. And that's totally fine, you guys. We all start somewhere, right? But I want to point out something there. And this is not just about poker or gambling. I want you guys to apply this knowledge to everything in your life. This is really important. I want you to look at that. This is in reverse engineering. He's saying when I win, then I'll bet higher. But right now, I'm going to go with the fear of I got to bet low to lose low. You see that? He didn't say that to me. But what he's coming at from is it when I lose this, I'll lose a little bit rather than betting high and losing more. So that's coming from a dominant state of lack. Do you see that? Whereas when I sit down, and this comes with work and work and like trust internally. Okay, this doesn't just happen overnight. Like I've worked on myself for having this thought process and this embodiment. So if you're not feeling like this right away, or if you're having like a thought like he is naturally, it's totally fine. But I'm just pointing out this is how you are becoming aware of where you stand internally, because where you stand internally matters most. That's the energy that's putting out and receiving in and out. Okay, 3D, 4D. When I sit down, it's more of I'm a bet big because I know I'm gonna win, so I'm gonna win bigger. You see? And that's coming from a state of having. That's coming from a state of it's okay. I'm okay with what I'm doing right now. I'm okay with where I am right now. Even if I may lose it, which dominantly I know I'm gonna win it, but I'm surrendered to this amount I put here to bet. I'm confident that it'll come back to me. But I'm okay if it doesn't come back to me in this very hand right here, right now. So that's detachment. That is like almost surrender to your present moment, which when the more surrendered you are, the more things come in, right? And if you guys do play too, what I do, I've said this in my older videos too, I actually call out the hands that are gonna open or the dealer is gonna open. Like let's say like a let's say I have a pair of fives in my hand, right? And then the dealer opens like aces. Logically, aces beats fives because aces are the highest card in the deck, right? But as the dealer is going to open the cards, what I say is my pair of fives just beat everyone at the table in my mind. My pair of fives just beat everyone at the table because the dealer opened like a 3 or 4, right? I attached that meaning way before the cards are even opened. And you will not believe how many times the dealer opens the cards I call out. And everyone's looking at me like, how the heck did you know she was going to open it? And sometimes I say, well, it's because I said so. That's why. But you guys get the drift, right? So that one thing that my dad mentioned is, well, I'm going to bet low to lose low. That right there shows you where that person stands internally. Okay? Or he would say stuff like, damn, every hand, the dealer's beating me, the dealer's beating me, the dealer's beating me. And I'm literally like, you just gotta stop saying that. Stop. Go shake off, go take a break, shake it off, shake off this energy right now. Like tap into a different energy and then come back. We're not gonna stick with that thought process. We're gonna disrupt it. We're gonna disrupt it. Or you can sit in it and continuously see the evidence match it. You get me? I hope this helped you guys. This is not just about cards again. This is not just about playing. This is about matching what you want to see out there with the internal frequency in here. and watching what states you're embodying. Okay? I hope this video helped you guys. I love you guys. If you guys are interested in any of my courses, you guys are so many people sending in so many success stories from my courses and one-on-one coaching sessions. Links are going to be in the description box down below. If you have any questions, please email us. Please comment down below and someone will help and respond to you. I have been booked up, you guys. I'm pretty booked up. So if you are looking for a one-on-one coaching session with me, you can get on the wait list, or you can email us and reception will put you on the wait list. I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. I intend this video helped. I intend this video gave you an aha moment. And remember, watch the states you're in. If it's not serving you or if it doesn't feel good, disrupt the thought process. Love you. Bye.